Welcome to Dreams Inspire Reality Podcast with Tara Darnley, a podcast for creatives looking to turn their dreams into reality with practical strategic steps from everyday people and entrepreneurs who are living their best lives possible. Dreams inspire reality. Turn your dreams into reality. Dreams inspire reality.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited about my guest today, Mandy Bowman, who is the founder and CEO of Official Black Wall Street. After studying entrepreneurship at Babson College, she set out to empower the Black community through economics and ownership. With a deep-rooted passion for all things social media, entrepreneurship, and Black culture, she has worked tirelessly to make it easier for others to find and support Black entrepreneurs through her digital platform and Black Business Directory. Mandy, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
You are more than welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you about all things, everything from your app, what's going on in your business, like pitching, like everything, because you've been doing amazing. So I know you're going to share a lot of gems with us today. So in your own words, who are you?
Who am I? Whoa, that is a different one. I would say that I'm an ambitious girl from Brooklyn. I'll keep it simple.
Repping Brooklyn.
Yes.
I love it. And actually, the first question I always ask my guests is, are you living your dream life?
I would say that I am. Everything is always a work in progress. But what's crazy is I was thinking the other day, like 5 years for this time, I would not have been able to imagine being where I am right now. I would say I'm definitely living it or trying to. I'm getting there.
And no worries in that. That's like the number one answer I've been getting. So it's fine. I don't even think we're ever going to be like satisfied with where we're at because we're always harder to get where we want to be. So that's a total honest answer. Let's talk about your company, Official Black Wall Street. Can you give us some insight on that? Like, why did you start it? Like, why did you see that there was a need for your company?
Yeah, so the inspiration came from when I first learned about the story of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I read a book about it. This is when after I graduated, that's when I learned about it, which is a whole different story and crazy all in and of itself. But after reading that story, it made me think about my own neighborhood or my hometown neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. It was predominantly Black at that point in time. It's very, very different now. But it just reminded me of how close-knit the community used to be. There are so many different Black-owned businesses that had to shut down because of gentrification. And seeing my neighborhood change in that way made me want to go and support as many of those businesses as possible to keep the community in its place as much as I could. And so from there, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go out and support as many of these businesses as I can. But no one has a sign in their storefront saying, hey, I'm Black owned. So for me, it took a lot of research. And it had gotten to the point where I was like, you know what? I had found so many amazing, dope businesses that I was like, you know what? I might as well just share this with everyone. And so that's where I kind of came up with the idea to start Official Black Wall Street.
I love it. And I think the next question I would ask you is, do you get a lot of critique for your company in terms of bad criticism? Like, okay, why not just support all businesses? And
girl.
Can you tell us why is it important to support Black-owned businesses?
Yes, I've gotten a lot of those. And I've gotten it from both ends. I would say, so we launched a Kickstarter to raise money for the app. And that's when I noticed that people were, oh, this is racist and whatever. But the stats show that Black entrepreneurs face more challenges when it comes to starting and sustaining a business. We're closed out of loans more often than any other group. And when we do get those loans, the interest rate is about 32% higher than our counterparts. Funding is also a huge challenge for us. So there are all these different obstacles that a Black entrepreneur has to face when it comes to growing their business. And even then, I wish I remember the exact stats, but Black entrepreneurs, when it comes to their total revenue, we are far behind our counterparts. So it takes a lot for us to start these businesses. And then once it starts, it's also a struggle to maintain it and to continuously have the capital to continue growing. And so that's one side of it. The other side of it is that when it comes to our local economy, we are also far behind, where our dollar isn't circulating as frequently as our counterparts. So we all heard the stats where we know that a dollar in the Black community circulates for 6 hours. Whereas in Jewish communities, it circulates for, I believe, 20 days. And in Asian communities, it circulates for a month. And with us, it's only 6 hours. So we have money just constantly leaving our community. So when you combine those two things and all the stats that come with it, it's pretty clear that Black entrepreneurs need the support.
And let's talk quickly about, you talked about Kickstarter and how you use that platform to fund your company. So you had the dream for the app, you had the dream. How did that become a reality beyond Kickstarter, and how did Kickstarter help you to launch and to fund your dream?
Yeah, so one thing I didn't realize is that apps are so expensive. They are very expensive. And that's an understatement. I did not have the money to pay for someone to do it. I didn't have the coding skills myself to build an app. And so at that point in time, my options were I can do crowdfunding or I can look for investors. And I honestly wasn't well versed enough to go the investor route. And I felt like it was just too early for me to start thinking about equity and things like that. So I went with the Kickstarter route, and I had extremely stressful, but it turned out great because we did raise the money. Our goal was $30,000 and we raised around $33,000. So we raised the money for part of the app. The app was just a journey where in the beginning it costs one thing, or the quote was one thing. And then as time goes on, you add different things, take things out. And so the bill kind of just continues going higher and higher. But I would say without the Kickstarter, I definitely would not have gotten my first foot in.
And going back, I know you didn't start with the app. You actually started with a website just to educate us business owners about the platform and how we can utilize it. So I know people are probably like, oh, she just had an app and she jumped in and she raises money. Oh, she's all good. But can you take us back, because you didn't just start with the app. You started building a customer base. You started building social media following. And I think you guys do an excellent job of that. So can you just share with us like some of the things that you did behind the scenes to like make sure your social media was visible for us to find you, to know about you, and to know how you could serve us?
Social media was definitely really big and important. My background is in social media and digital marketing. And just because of the nature of it, because it's a social impact type of thing, I knew that I would have to go through social media because that's where a lot of us live. And so I first started with the social pages. I didn't have a website yet, but I knew I wanted to grow a following. And so I started with Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I just began sharing different businesses and kind of getting a feel for what people were looking for. And I think the timing was great because that was at the very beginning of when people started, searching for Black-owned businesses. It was around the time when the Michael Brown case happened. So I began growing my audience. And I would say maybe about almost a year after I began the social pages, or a couple months after, that was when I launched the website for it. And I tell people all the time that your social media presence has to be, because even when I'm looking for a business, sometimes I don't even Google it. I'll go to Instagram and search for it first. And so I always tell people it's so important for them to have social media presence or online presence, period.
That's so true. I can't tell you how many times I visited a website and I go to the footer link and I click on their Instagram. And if their Instagram is not active, I'm gone, because to me, you're like, I'm not going to trust you with my money. You don't even have a social media presence. So I'm gone. So that is so true. And I know even when you guys started out, for me as a business, when I found out about the concept, I was excited about it because I saw the benefit that it had for us. But as a business owner, for any business owners out there listening, what are some of the benefits in joining your movement and coming on and signing up as a small business on there?
Yeah. So, I mean, even with just the app itself, we have over 80,000 downloads. Before that, we had, in the span of 2 years, we had accumulated 1.15 million users. And so we have a lot of eyes on the different businesses that are on there. Like, we have a lot of users who use it faithfully just to find Black-owned businesses. And we've heard from business owners who say that they've gotten more orders after signing up on the platform. So I would say it's a great tool to increase your exposure and so that people know about you. I mean, the most amazing part to me is when people go on it and they're like, oh, there are, all these Black-owned businesses down the block for me, and I didn't even know about them, but now I can actually support them in the way that I want to. And that's what I love about it.
For sure. And guys, make sure you download the app and you're able to find, like she said, amazing business. Like I downloaded it as soon as you guys launched, and Remember, I was walking around and I'm like, oh, this is right down the block from me. I didn't know this restaurant was here or that, this place is here. So it definitely helps a lot, like in just finding and supporting other business, especially in your community. I think we're always looking to support others in our community. So being able to do that through your app has definitely helped us. Is there a fee to join? Like, can you give us a breakdown? Like, how can we join? Like, what is needed? Do you need our social security? Like, what do you need?
Yes, so there is a fee to join. The lowest fee is $25, and that's to sign up. You get to submit any special offers, reply to reviews, add and customize your listing. And we have different levels. So that's one level. The other one is $100, and you get more advertising through the app and more exposure. For example, you can get a homepage feature where you're listed as one of our featured businesses on the homepage. If someone searches for a business in your category and location, your business will pop up first. You can message consumers and different things. We really wanted to make it so that it's not just, oh, well, if you sign up at this level, you get to add a website, you get to add a phone number, and you get to add a second category. We wanted to make it so that people actually got value out of it, different, more exposure, more advertising options and opportunities. And so that was our thought process behind that. In terms of what you need to sign up, of course, you have to be a Black-owned business. So there are two different ways that we do it. There are some businesses where it's very easy to find out who the owner is because your business, we know that you're the owner of it. But there are some businesses that still don't have an online presence or anything like that. And for those, we ask that they send us an ID, of course, with their important information covered. We just need to see your face and your name. And God, I forgot the name of it. But it's basically their listing on their Secretary of State website. I hope I'm saying that the right way.
Their EIN?
No. There's a Secretary of State website for every state, and it lists the businesses. So everyone's business will be listed on that area.
Okay.
I feel like I want to Google it just to make sure I'm saying it right, because I feel like I'm not. But basically, just showing proof that you're the owner in that, because we have had some people try and sign up. Remember when we first launched the site, there was this tattoo parlor that continuously tried to submit the business. I'm like, we know that you're not Black owned though, so.
So you can't just be an honorary Black-owned business. Let me stop.
No.
Let me stop.
Not this platform. Maybe another one.
Let me stop. Creative. Let's talk about your recent presence where you pitched your business to a panel of celebrity entrepreneurs, judges on Centric TV new series Queen Boss. How was that experience for you?
Oh, that was so nerve-wracking. So that was my first time ever pitching my business to anybody. And it was on national television. I was just like, look at God. It was an amazing experience because it got me to do something that would naturally scare me. And I feel like whenever I do something like that, it makes it a little bit more normal for me and I get accustomed to it. But it was definitely nerve-wracking. I learned a lot from it. Yeah, it was an experience. Honestly, I haven't even watched the pitch video.
I could totally see why not. Or I could totally relate to that because I haven't watched any features that after it's done. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's it. Maybe I'll have to take pointers later, but and that's how I actually found out the face behind the app, right? And I was like, she's a little girl, and I'm like, you always imagine, I guess, who's behind what company.
Yeah.
And then I saw you, I was like, oh, and we were rooting for you. I was like, I know her business. That was definitely great seeing because, like I said, we followed you from the beginning. So, knowing the face behind the company made it more, real for us.
Right.
Let's talk about some of your other PR opportunities that you've been your app has been featured on Black Enterprise, SM Magazine, Gravity, CBS, and we're always as small business trying to get publicity for our business and trying to get PR. So can you share some tips with our listeners? How are you able to get so many PR features? And these are not just random; these are hardcore media that we're all pitching to every day.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was an ongoing press run. Even the Shade Room post, and I was like, oh my, how did that even, it was a great experience. Yeah, so one thing that I realized is that your story means a lot. I think one reason why what I was doing caught on was because I had a story and I knew what my story before the app even launched. So I knew it would be something along the lines of I quit my full-time job and made this leap of faith in order to do this thing for the Black community. I remember communicating with one of the executives at a media company, and he basically said, they get hundreds of pitches every single day. So pitching your business once, if no one responds, that's okay. Just a new angle and pitch it again. And another thing I realized is that you just have to get your foot in the door at least one or two. Because a lot of these media outlets, they'll pick up on something if other people are picking up on it, because it's the hot thing now. So I would say to pitch your business from not even just your business, pitch yourself. I feel like that's what I started doing. Instead of pitching the business, I pitched myself and what I had done. And if that doesn't work, or if you don't hear back, then find a new angle and pitch it again. And if that doesn't work, then, find a new angle and pitch it again. And don't be afraid to reach out to someone via Instagram or Twitter, especially Twitter. But I remember I had gone to a panel event about PR and pitching. And one thing that stood out was that they said that they like it when the email is coming from the entrepreneur. Instead of it being like a PR person and like a formal press release, they like it when it's coming from the entrepreneur and just talking about what they're doing. But it has to be very, very short, because you can imagine they get tons of these per day and you don't want them to mark unread and then never get back to it. So I would say those are probably my top tips, and then just having a really popping subject line.
I love that. I love that you said that. Number one, keep pitching. And the most important thing I think you said was having a brand story. But your brand story or your story about yourself should be, important. It shouldn't just be, oh, hey, I sell ice creams because I love strawberry.
Right.
Be more to it. So that was definitely a good pointer. Let's talk about the app, right? Because you mentioned that it was expensive and it was a lot of work. And I know a lot of us are looking to just pivot our business, and we're always trying to find ways to make sure we're marketing right, we're getting customers. And a lot of people are looking to start an app for their business. What advice would you give? Because I know the main thing you mentioned was that it was expensive. So what kind of budget should we go in it with? Like $1,000?
Oh, I wish.
Give us some real advice. Like, how was that process for you? What were some of the big takeaways from just building the app from the ground up?
So I originally thought an app would be like maybe $5,000 on the high end, and that is not the case. I would say get ready to spend at least $30,000, depending on how custom you want the app to be. But yeah, it can go from $30,000 to paying someone's yearly salary. So you definitely have to save up. Or you can find a CTO who's really great at building apps and try and give them equity. But I would say get ready to pay a lot of money. And then I would say, too, of course, you should make sure that your contracts are all in order and that everything that they do it belongs to you. And I would say my next biggest lesson is just to know who your developer is, who that person is working with. Last one is to have a plan in place when the app has been delivered. Because, of course, you still need someone to maintain it. When it's done, you're still going to iterate and continue working on it. So you definitely need to have someone there who can maintain it.
And what is in store for Official Black Wall Street? What should we look forward to?
So it's really exciting because a couple of weeks ago, we realized that we have businesses listed now in 10 different countries. So I'm really excited to do more across these, because I know there isn't just a need for it here. There's also a need for it in other countries around the world. So I'm excited to explore that avenue. We definitely want to have more events this year, panel events, pop-up shops. So we're definitely going to do a lot more of that as well. And just doing more in different communities around the country. So we'll be on this coast, the next coast, we'll be around.
Yes to going global. I love it. And we're going to go into the fun round. So I'm going to ask you some questions and you have no time to think about it. Just give me your response. No.
Gosh, okay.
You want whatever is on the top of your head. And it's just simple. It's nothing like crazy. Who is your favorite entrepreneur?
Oh, I thought Oprah.
Oprah.
I really wanted to say something else, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
Oprah's fine. We all What is the best business tool you're using right now that you cannot live without?
This is going to sound really corny, but I would say a list. And my phone, yes, this is really basic, but I use lists for, I would be lost without I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is, okay, I need to do this. I need to make sure this is done. I go to sleep at night. Before I go to bed, I'm like, okay, the next morning I need to do this, this, and this. I would be lost without my list.
I love it. What was the last book you read?
The last book I read was The Power of Now.
What was the last good deed that you did and the last good deed that was done for you?
Okay, I'll start with the last good deed that was done for me. Well, I guess this speaks to the power of networking. I have a Facebook friend who works at Facebook, and he just randomly like, oh, I love what you're doing. You know, here's $250 in Facebook ad credits. And I was like, oh, that's so nice of you. So I would say that was during a time when I really, really needed it. So it came at the perfect time. I would say the last good deed that I've done was helping someone with their social media strategy.
I love it, for free. But she does that paid basis, guys. So she also
right.
So if we want to follow you and follow your journey and follow all the amazing things you're doing within your community, how can we reach you? And what's the best way to reach you? And what's your website for your platform?
So the website is officialblackwallstreet.com. You can follow us, Instagram, Official Black Wall Street, Facebook, same thing, Twitter, The Black Wall Street. If you want to find me, you can find me at Mandy X Bowman everywhere, or just shoot me an email at mandy@officialblackwallstreet.com.
It was an absolute pleasure having you on. We've learned so much from you, and we look forward to following your journey. And I hope you can come back one day to update us on what's going on. Mm-hmm. And guys, I hope you guys were able to take away all those nuggets about pitching, about building an app, and all the steps. And, Mandy has shared within her journey. Be sure to download this episode and leave us a review and a feedback. If you have any questions for Mandy, let us know and we'll get some answers from her. For all business owners, make sure you check out that platform for sure. Sign up. There's nothing to lose. Like, really, there's a lot to gain. We want to know where you are and who you are. So sign up so we can find more amazing businesses to support. Until next time, dream big. See you guys. Hey guys, let's give a quick thanks to our sponsor, Dreams Inspire Reality. Are you unsure of the steps needed to turn your dreams into reality? Have you been sitting on that product idea and not sure how to bring it to market? We've successfully launched tons of products and distribute all over the globe. Let us help you get unstuck and take your idea to market with strategic advice and practical steps. Schedule a consultation today at dreamsinspirereality.com.
Dreams inspire